Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to my kitchen. I'll just give you guys a few minutes to join, and so I'll just continue my prep on the side. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome. So I'll just allow some time for people to log on as usual. In the meanwhile, I'm just finishing up my prep. So just give me and them a moment. Just a moment. We'll let them join. Morning. Good morning. Morning, Faith. Morning, guys. I'm making some yummy, exciting food today. It's not a typical Sunday meal, but we eat what we want to eat, what we choose to eat, right? Um, so yeah, morning. Okay, we just let's just give the other people a few minutes to log on, and then we'll get going. So I'm just patting dry my chicken. Yeah, I'm making chicken. No, but it's not that kind of chicken. I know you'll probably say chicken is chicken, but morning, Sebu, morning. Blessed Sunday to you as well. You're from Botswana. Hello. Um, all right, I think just a few more minutes, then we'll get going. I'll tell you what I'm making today. I think it's exciting. I love street food, so any opportunity to make street food. In fact, my family loves street food. Everywhere we go to street food places. We find a street food place, be it a market, or one of those street food trucks. So we quite like that. Okay, so welcome everybody. I want to welcome our members, very special members. I welcome everyone who's subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And if you haven't become a member, please do. It's just a way that you support the channel. Everything I do here is free to you. But if you wish to support the channel, you can join as a member. But also, I do give away some goods and things and some exciting gifts to my members. So thank you very much. Good morning. All the way from the UK, Sip, hello. Swaziland, hello. I see you. I see you. Beautiful people. Busi says hello. Okay, so today, let's get going. The other guys will catch up on the way. Today, I'm making what would be a traditional pasta meal. Instead of the pasta, I'm using pita bread. So I'm going to use some pita bread. And pita bread, literally that. Um, but there's a whole lot of twists to to how I cook. Morning, everybody. Good morning. How do you become a member? You'll see on the channel there's a button that says join. Yeah, I think that's what it says. Pardon. Yeah, but it's quite easy. And then yeah, but what I'm gonna make with that is a filling of I'm using pancetta, some chorizo, so Spanish chorizo. Is what I'm using, and then I'm gonna use some Italian pancetta. Because well, pancetta is Italian, uh, and then I'm gonna use some mushroom and some chicken strips, and you'll see how I'm gonna load it. So it's a proper loaded meal, pita bread. I'm gonna roast these on open flame, which is quite exciting. Open flame, roast these. I'm gonna use some red onions today, and also I'm gonna bake some eggplant. And what's exciting here is that I'm gonna make my own hummus. So I'll show you how to make your own hummus. It's quite easy. So all Middle Eastern, Mediterranean dishes typically have hummus, tzatziki, or whatever whatever you feel like. So I do make my own tzatziki. It's actually quite easy. And I'll show you actually, I think let's make it as well today. We might have time. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. So today, as I promised last week, not last week, I think the week before. I'm quite happy to take questions today and answer those. But I'm going to quickly get the cooking out of the way as per usual. But I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do. So I'm just heating up my pan, and I'm going to pan fry these not really pan fry, but fry these chicken strips. So it's chicken strips. I'm gonna cut them slightly smaller because they're quite chunky. So how have you been? Tell me, what have you been up to? I've been okay. I've been hustling on the work front, doing my thing on the mommy front, and really like doing my thing on the wife front and supporting my charities. And I've also been looking after myself, which is quite important because I really believe that if we don't look after ourselves, we can't achieve any of the things that we wish for. Health is a serious currency these days, as you know. So yeah, I've been well. Last night I ended up with a sleepover that I never planned. I must tell you that I'm a mom that doesn't do sleepovers. But somehow something happens. So with my daughters, we've never done a sleepover. The rule in this house is there are no sleepovers. But I've now done, this was the second sleepover, and it's all my son. And I talk to my girls. I say to them, guys, I'll tell you something about being a parent the first time around. You may think that your parents are really hard on you when you see what they do with the next children or their last children or the next round of children. Because, it's a rule in this house, we don't do sleepovers. Nobody comes to sleep here, nobody goes to sleep anyway. But I've now done two. Last night, these little kids ganged up on me and asked for a sleepover. But my son now knows he thinks this trick of asking me for a sleepover as a gang works. And yeah, it's worked twice. But then last night I lay awake, I'm like, this little bugger, I'm gonna get him. Next time I'll say no in front of his friends. But listen, I want him to be happy. So I think the girls think that naturally he gets away with a lot of stuff. I think that's quite natural in a lot of families. But yeah, so some of the things that we do, I remember when we first bought him an iPad, he must have been like 4. And my husband and I stood in the middle of the store. We're going to buy this iPad. And we looked at each other and we're like, are we really doing this? This is not the kind of parents we said we were going to be. But the truth is that their reality is different. At school they use technology. So we kind of had to get on with it, catch up with the times. But this sleepover business for me, we only do it with our close friends that we really feel like they're family. But not just like kids from school. But the truth is that they develop very close relationships. So, and my son is a very social being. So yeah, let's just say I literally had to drag them to sleep because they don't want to sleep. And after a 3-hour training session, I was like, I don't think I signed up for this, honestly. The parenting part. But yeah, listen, he's happy. They are happy. They had a good night. I'll catch up on sleep soon. Okay, so I'll just show you now what I'm doing. For all those that just joined us, we're making some yummy street food, but of course my way. And it's, the perception that street food is always cheap. It's actually not true, and unhealthy. This is not fast food, it's street food. So and healthy street food. So you must try it sometime. So yeah, that's what I've been busy with, and work, of course. So today, what I'm going to do is use some basil infused oil, for the chicken, and I'm going to start with the chicken today, because what I want is to get that maximum flavor. So I'm just going to put this in the pan. This is just a pile of stripped chicken. So I use chicken breast, obviously. And I'll show you what I'm doing as usual. Um, I'm just gonna take another chopping board. But one of the things I've had to deal with at work, is some stuff leaving, But I realized that I'm in a cycle. Um, Most of my people have been with me, like I think I said this the last time, 8 years, 6 years, so you get to a point where they have to leave. Um, so, I've had to now hire new people, which has its own challenges. But I keep going, and I'm happy. Overall, I'm happy, I'm blessed. I never stop to count my blessings, and there's a lot of them. So, I just I just remain very, very grateful to God for choosing me for the path. So my chicken strips, I'm going to show you shortly. I'm going to add some ground cumin so that it fries with them. But I like cumin, so I'll probably add a little more. You know how I like spices. And then I'm going to add some smoked paprika today. Um, huh, this is what happens in this house. You think you have a spice, but you don't have it. Okay, I'm out of paprika. So I'm gonna leave that for now. I think it's here somewhere, so I'll find it. But there we go. Found it. I knew I bought the stuff. So yeah, I think though that one of the things that I really get to appreciate every day is how much you're constantly challenged, be it as a parent, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a friend, as just a leader in society, and not just leading as in publicly doing things, but just this notion that you want to play a part in changing your society. So there's constantly things to be done. There's constant challenges on the way, and I just relish them. Though I think that I never look at life as this pile of obstacles. It's with every lesson, with every failure, with every kick, it's a lesson, and that's what I take. And sometimes some things happen for absolutely no reason, but you just you keep at it, you keep going. Um, so I've found myself in that, and it's the strangest thing when people leave. But luckily, I talk to my people, so when they leave, they're not leaving they're not leaving because they're unhappy. They're leaving because there's better opportunities. And I think that, for me, there's no greater gift as a leader than to have created a platform where people become highly desirable on the market. It's not always obviously, ideal, but I always have a backup plan. I've always, I've always, I've always had succession. For me is not a negotiable. Um, and people think that when you're in business, succession is no longer an issue, but actually succession is a big issue in business as an entrepreneur, because you need people that can take off the pressure from you. And when those people leave, you need people that can take over from them. So I've always been about building people, building the next layer. So let me show you what I'm doing now. So I've added some paprika and some ground cumin to my chicken. And I'm not gonna over fry this because we want it to be nice and succulent. But you see how gorgeous it looks already. So I'm just gonna put it back on the pan, on the heat so that it keeps cooking. Um, let me use one of these. I'm very bad with using oven gloves and things, but yeah. So that's already looking good. And whilst that's coming along, I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do just now. Let's just start chopping up some onions first, because when the chicken gets ready, I'll put it on the side, and then we fry some onion in the same pot, because we've got some good flavor in there now. And with the pancetta and chorizo, you'll see it's gonna get just immaculately tasty. So, what have you been up to? What are your questions? I will answer them today, and I'll also sit down and just write them down as I chat. So, you let me know. And I'll tell you, I'm quite excited to show you how to make hummus, because it's actually quite easy. And even with pita bread, I would have ordinarily made my own, but I don't feel like kneading dough today. All I want to do is cook, eat, and have some champagne. I think I've earned it. I've earned it. After that hectic exercise yesterday. Ooh, that was fun though. It was so much fun. And I think that we need more and more of those. We need more and more of those, because we want to be outdoors, we want to train, we want to have fun, and the more of those we have, the better. So all you fitness people, go for it. All right, I'm gonna put the chicken aside for a moment so that I get going with the other ingredients. But let me show you. Don't overcook the chicken, because it's still gonna go back into the pan. So let me show you what this looks like now. There we go. So it looks quite good. So I'm just gonna move it on the side. Tsongai says, Amanda, I read your book, Therefore I Rose, and fell in love with your company, Uyandiswa. I'm currently doing my CA trainee articles and would like to join your company when I'm done. What can I do in the meanwhile to equip myself with the required skills? Well, thank you very much. We don't hire CAs because we're not really an accounting firm or an auditing firm, but what we do, we run a graduate intake every year. So when we hire you, we don't always look at what skill you've got, or what qualification you've got, because when you're still studying, you won't really have a skill, you'll just have a qualification. What we do is then take you in, teach you, train you in just working. So you'll typically be part of a rotational program where you get to understand all of our business and how we work. And then we put you at a client, or we refer you to a company that can hire you. So Uyandiswa is a project management firm largely focusing on information technology. So we implement large IT programs, people change programs. So whilst there's usually need for like project accountants there, but I wouldn't suggest that you do that when you've just come out of varsity. So yeah, that's the long and the short of it. Okay, so in the same pan that I had fried the chicken, I'm gonna add some red onions, because cook with onions. I don't know people who cook with no onions, but I'll show you what. Let's just add some garlic first, then I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Okay, so I add some crushed garlic, because I love garlic. everything I use is healthy, is great for you. Uh, that's why I look like this. Let me quickly show you what it looks like now. So I've literally just added the onions and the garlic in the same pan that I used to fry the chicken, because then we keep all of that flavor in there. So putting my chicken aside. Oh, there's a lot to be done here. Sorry, my prep space is filling up. Okay, so whilst I let that fry a bit more, and what I don't want to do, I don't want to overcook anything, because you want a bit of crunch in the pita, because the pita is dough, so already that it will get the moisture will make it quite soggy. But I'll also show you what we do with the pita, because I fry it, I toast it first. Then you get that nice crunch on the outside. Okay, so whilst we do that, in fact, I think let me add some more. I'm gonna add some more red onions. So I think whilst on this topic about work and studies, I must tell you what we hire for. So when we hire people, especially people fresh out of varsity, because you don't have experience, so we don't hire for experience, we hire for attitude. We hire for attitude. We check, are you a person that we can actually help grow, and then refer you, because when we refer you, that's putting our name on the line. So we hire a lot for attitude. I must tell you, we had a recent example, and we've been highly successful with our graduate intake. We've been doing this since I started the business. I hire graduates because it's one of the reasons I'm in business, to create opportunities. Somebody once did that for me. And because I have access to the jobs, then I also have access to the supply, which is people looking for jobs. But I mean, we had an incident recently, I'm going to call it an incident, where we had a student that was referred to us. I'm just going to add a little more oil. So this student was referred to us. He's got an honors in actuarial science. So naturally, I mean, we grab those because we know we can put them at clients. They can be hired by our clients because of the qualification. But we made this guy an offer, which he accepted, and then he withdrew the offer a day later. Well, one of the reasons he withdrew it is because we told him he has to get vaccinated. He is one of those who don't want to get vaccinated, and we told him, unfortunately, we can't hire people who are not vaccinated. So, and that's because it's also mandated by our clients. So if you're not vaccinated, you can't go on client sites, you can't deal with clients. So he withdrew a job offer because he doesn't want to be vaccinated. I was just like, guys, and this is a young kid. I'm not talking about people who believe in whatever conspiracy theories they believe in. I'm not talking about the old people that you maybe can expect that they're a bit skeptical. This is a young kid, honors in actuarial science, turns down a job because they don't want to be vaccinated. I just said, you know what, people are definitely not hungry enough out there. And I'm not disrespecting anyone's choice to vaccinate or not vaccinate, but what I'm saying is that I just find it unbelievable, it's unreal. But anyway, as it is in life, the queue is long of people who want jobs. So we simply just moved on to the next person in the queue. And that's how the jobs work these days. You can't, they're not reserved for you whilst you decide what you're going to do with your life. Anyway, I think what I'm also going to do in the meanwhile, I've got some eggplant, aubergine, brinjal, whatever you call it in your world. So I'm gonna slice this in. In fact, what I'm making today, try and picture a shawarma. Yeah, but it's a different kind of shawarma. So I'm gonna quickly cut these into slices, and I'm gonna bake them. My oven has been heating up for, it's been a while. So just gonna cut these up into slices, and we lay them inside the pita. And it's gonna look really, really cool. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys are feeling about, it's not really that I don't respect people's opinions and decisions, but companies are all gonna ask for mandatory vaccination. Almost all of our clients have already mandated it. And we submit vaccination certificates before we even go to interact with the client. So that's something that young people have to take into account when they're busy going about their lives, because whatever decision you make, at the end of the day, it may come back to either take away from you or grant you more opportunity. It's a bit sad that we have such young people who turn down job opportunities. But then again, maybe because he's got an actuarial science, he thinks that he'll get another job elsewhere. But eventually, all companies are going to require mandatory vaccination. Um, so anyway, here's some slices of aubergine. So I just lay those on a baking paper. I'm going to bake these. I'll add more just now because I'm using two of them. I'm making enough food for later as well. So, because these people in this house, they eat. Okay, so Kuku says, can I take you back to your days in corporate? What did you do outside of your technical expertise that contributed to your success in an executive role? Well, your ability to lead, first and foremost, and your willingness to lead. And your willingness to put yourself on the line for what's for the interests of the organization and your people. Also your ability to articulate yourself and to be strategic and understand where the company or the organization is going and where it should be going, where you don't agree. So confidence goes a long way. The ability to be a team player and play along nicely with other children. It really stood me in great stead. But also, I mean, I wouldn't keep quiet if there was something I didn't believe in. If we were not doing right by our people, I'd stand up for that. It's a lot of, you bring yourself to the job. You take yourself to the job. Everywhere you go, in fact, you take yourself. So it's about what do you believe in and what is it that you believe you are contributing and bringing to the table outside of technical expertise. I mean, I became a CIO, which is a Chief Information Officer, not being the most technical of people. So my route into IT wasn't through software programming or any of the technical routes. It was purely through project management. So because I ran IT projects, that's how I got into IT. So I'm just gonna add some black pepper to the aubergine, and then I'm also gonna add some salt. Some salt. Just a touch of salt. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to spray that with a bit of olive oil. Thanks, babe. That's fine, thanks. Thanks, babe. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the oven. And I'm probably going to let that bake for about 20 minutes or so. In the meanwhile, So yeah, I think there's a lot that you can do, but a lot of it is also consciousness. So it is who you are, but also it's what you know is required to be an executive, and you focus on those things, and what you know you need to improve upon, you improve upon and learn what you need to learn. But companies in executive roles are looking for stewards of the organization, people that are going to drive the vision forward. But I wasn't a puppet. I was highly challenging and of authority. I was challenging of thoughts. I was challenging of strategies. I was challenging operationally in how we were doing things, which is a great thing, because it's how you do it. Yeah, so I think all of those things mattered, and I'm a lot of fun. Okay, so Carter says, I'm young, just got a great job. I want to make an impression, but my health is currently not coming to the party. How did you balance work life in times where your health is really compromised? So I don't know if your health is compromised temporarily or you have a long-term or chronic condition. But what I can say is that without your health, you have very little room to maneuver in life. So whatever is bothering you health-wise, you have to pay attention to it. But let me tell you one of the things that I've since learned, and learned with hindsight. And I'm quite vocal about my burnout when I left corporate. It's about what do you do every single day to make sure that your health remains a priority. So things like exercise, eating right, stay away from extreme all this excessive coffee drinking. Okay, so let me just quickly show you. My onions are looking good. Um, I'm gonna add, and that's onions with some garlic, and I'll come back to the health question now. And then what I'm gonna do, as per usual, I'm gonna add some nice chunky spring onion. Gonna add some spring onion. So it's so important to be aware of your habits and also what you take on, because I really had an attitude that said I can solve the world's problems. Um, and I remember my coach. I had a coach when I was a director at the bank. We were assigned a coach as a leader. And my coach said to me one day, Amanda, you need to stop taking the bullet for the organization. Like, stop taking the bullet for the organization. So I took on every single problem you could think of that came across my desk. Because I cared. I cared about how it impacted people. I cared how, the organization was carrying itself. So, and that is a sure recipe for burnout, because no matter what you do, it will not be enough. No matter what you do. And I felt like, I was constantly fighting my system. Um, and, and I mean, it takes a toll on you. So pick the battles you want to fight. Even when you're a leader, pick the battles you want to fight. You cannot solve every single problem that exists, but pick one that you know you have the highest chance of success. Um, there isn't a fight I didn't fight. And because those fights meant a lot to me. But now, with hindsight, I realize how much it actually negatively impacted my health and my well-being. So as you go about building your careers, I think the younger people have got the great opportunity of learning from some of the mistakes that we made. You don't have to be so consumed by your job. Have a hobby, have other things that you do. Understand that your personal time is your personal time, and it's there for a reason, so that you can pull yourself away from work and distance yourself mentally, emotionally, and otherwise from work. Recharge, replenish, spend time with the people that matter and doing things that matter, and then go back. So, but a lot of us, because we were probably first generation people who went to varsity, especially in the black communities in South Africa. It's not unheard of. I mean, most of us are the first people have gone to varsity, have decent jobs. So you carry that need to make sure that you never have financial issues. But, at the end of it all, and that your children never have financial challenges. But at the end of it all, if it's to your own health detriment, it's pointless. So you don't have to curb your ambition. You don't have to curb your enthusiasm. You just have to be very, very disciplined about what matters, and that your personal time is your personal time. And have a life, please, outside of work. Work is work. No one has loyalty to you at work. It's pretty much like stuff. People only have loyalty to you for as long as it suits them and for as long as it serves their need. So it's pretty much the same as organizations. Um, and unfortunately, I mean, it's not a secret that companies, when they're downsizing, they don't think how loyal have you been. They think about what is the bottom line benefit when they get rid of staff. And that's the harsh truth. That's the harsh truth. Leaders are given a mandate. They're told you need to cut 10 billion from your cost base. And there's more often than not, the place that they go to cut is people, where they've already cut. Because there's not much else, there's not much else that you can cut. So people are always gonna be that. So be so loyalty must be to your own well-being first and foremost, and to what you give to the people that matter to you. And then, of course, do your job and do it diligently with excellence. Please don't give people a reason to fire you, because they will do it. They'll take that opportunity. Okay, I'm gonna add some. This is some chorizo. So I'm gonna add the chorizo to that mix. And then I'm also gonna add. I've got some, and I'm adding pancetta because I like that salty taste that pancetta has. And pancetta is it's like bacon. Yeah, you can actually have it as a replacement for bacon. But it's quite yummy when you just make it nice and crispy. I like it crispy, so I'm gonna add some pancetta as we fry this. But I'll let the chorizo just fry a bit more. So I'll soon show you what I'm doing. So yeah, I hope that helps. I hope that helps. And be very deliberate about how you're trying to build your career. And I think I want to go back also to the other question about what they must do to join my company. Whilst it's flattering that you want to join our company, be very discerning about which company you choose to join and why. And I always tell people when they go for interviews, stop carrying on like these people are doing you a favor. Go there with a very clear reason why you want to join the company and what it is that you want to know from them, how they're going to add value in your life. So we're no longer begging for jobs. We have to be clear about what that company brings to your own agenda. And I worry when people just go and take jobs just for the sake of making money. And I get that desperation. I understand it. I've been there. But you might end up with the wrong choice. And unfortunately, your well-being suffers when you're in a place where that doesn't value you, and a place that doesn't contribute to what your life's vision is. So that's so important, guys. So whilst the chorizo is taking some heat, I'm gonna add some pancetta, so some chopped pancetta. And you see how beautiful it looks now, this plate, this pot of food. Let me show you. Okay. See? It's looking quite nice and I like the color. So yeah, lay on some more questions. But yeah, career-wise, I really think that you have to be clear about where you want to go. Otherwise, in fact, even in life, otherwise you end up being pushed and thrown from pillar to post. You go where people say you should go. even though it doesn't actually resonate with where you want to go. So it's so important to not leave your career to chance. And I must tell you that your career progression and your career success has nothing to do with your line manager. It is not the line manager's job, it's your job. So you must hold them accountable to you. Um, Make sure that you have clear KPIs, you understand exactly what it is that you should be delivering. Because that way they can't use that against you when you are clear that you've delivered what is expected. So always make sure that there's alignment in terms of what you're supposed to be delivering, because it's easy for people to just get rid of you because, well, you didn't deliver what was expected. And if you don't have those agreed KPIs, because not every line manager is diligent, not every line manager is going to do what is required in their job. So it is your job to make sure that the company supports you to give you what you need to deliver your job, to do your job. Otherwise, if they don't do that, you can use that against them. They can't use that against you. Um, but if you haven't been diligent to document what it is that you need to be focusing on and how you're going to get measured, then it's a serious problem come measurement time. You all know what happens when you get to bonus time and somebody says you are a 3. Therefore, you know a 3 leads to very little bonus and very little increase, depending on what your scales are. Or they say you're a 2, you've met some, you didn't meet everything. That time you bent backwards, killing yourself, helping other people. So it's so important to, in the process of trying to be a team player, just remember that it matters that you focus on your job as well. And focus on what it is you're supposed to be delivering. Because you can be everything to everyone and end up with no recognition and reward, but other people do. And then you grow very resentful. So just be careful about that. And careers require careful thought and careful consideration. Um, they are not just going to happen by themselves, unfortunately. Okay, so I have some red cabbage here. And one of the things I can tell you, I don't cook cabbage because I grew up on cabbage. And of all the things I grew up on, in fact, I grew up on cabbage, spinach, you name it. Of all the things I grew up on, this is one I just never took a liking to beyond my upbringing. But red cabbage goes so well with what I'm making. So I'm just gonna cut up some red cabbage. In fact, for this meal, you can even add the red cabbage uncooked. But I'm just gonna saute it with my sauce. So this is our aubergine. It's nicely baked now, so I'm just gonna put that aside. Okay, almost there, almost there. We're doing good for time. So yeah, it's really your responsibility, and you can't scream you've been treated unfairly if you haven't yourself taken responsibility for your career. It is really disheartening to get to a point where people are telling you haven't delivered, and it's a big surprise for you. And I can tell you, that's how they build up a case against you. Okay, just cutting up some chunks of the red cabbage. Okay, let me quickly show you what this looks like now. There we go. So that looks really nice. So let me add some red cabbage. And I must also add on this career conversation that nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything. I know it's like they owe me something. No, what they owe you is the money they pay you at the end of the month. That's what they owe you. The rest you must take yourself. And yes, there's an agreement that they must also help you develop and get the necessary job skills. So you know, own it, own your career. Please own your career. Own your career. Okay, I'm gonna show you what this looks like now, and then I'm gonna quickly put it back on the heat. I'm gonna add some mushrooms, and then we'll start with the sauces. That's what it looks like. So I'm just gonna let Heather, you can go grab a fork. My husband doesn't want to be seen on the on the video. So this question, Vanessa says, "Morning, Amanda. What is your view on counter offers?" Sorry, let me also just take some of these questions down so that I don't forget. Just give me a moment, because I see there's already another question about race and gender. Okay, but let me start with the other one. My view on counter offers is never counter offer. That's what I believe in. I've never, at least for as long as I remember, I've never counted. I've never counter offered. Not for as long as I remember. I have a principle. If the issue is money, talk to me and tell me that the issue is money. You need more money, and we work out, whatever the parameters. What's my maneuvering point? But if you go ahead and you look for a job, and you go for interviews, they do criminal checks on you, credit checks on you. That's quite a process, hey? That means you have committed to this. So you must see it through. You must leave. Anyone who resigns, I never try to keep them. If you want to go, you must go. And I'm happy for people to move on, but I don't counter. If you want to resolve a problem, especially because counter offers are always about money, but that's not how we should be treating each other. If we have an open relationship where I've treated you well, the one thing you owe me at least is the decency to say, listen, I'm struggling financially, I need more money. In fact, I could even help you get a job that will pay you more money. That's the kind of person I am, if there's nothing I can do. And you don't always get that as a courtesy from your staff. But it is what it is. And I don't believe in counter offers. In fact, anyone who takes a counter offer, I frown upon you. And we've had that in my business. We have that as an issue all the time. We offer people jobs, they want to leave or their contracts are not being renewed, and they take our offers and use them against us. I've had 2 senior executives I tried to hire who took my offer and used it against me. So, and I can tell you, I have zero respect for you after that. Zero respect for you. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, for me, I care about conduct. I care about how people conduct themselves. And if you're gonna try and have me convince you to stay and give you more money, I don't do that. I say you should have allowed me the opportunity to do something about it. And the fact that you didn't allow me the opportunity to do so pisses me off. I feel like you have no loyalty. So yeah, that's how I feel about counter offers. And I can tell you, if you're a person that counter offers or uses other offers against your employer, they don't respect you after that. It's a fact. They don't respect you. They know you have no loyalty to them. And that's okay. Loyalty is a questionable thing anyway. Okay, so just to carry on with my meal, I am now gonna add some mushrooms. So I'm gonna use these steak mushrooms. They're pretty cool, really big. These you can actually have on their own as a meal. You can stuff them with some breadcrumbs, Parmesan cheese, or any white hard cheese. And they're actually really nice. They're a nice replacement for meat because they're quite chunky and quite meaty. But I'm gonna cut these up and I'm gonna use 2. And remember, with mushrooms, you don't wash them. Don't wash mushrooms. They'll soak up all that water. So whatever you see that may be bothering you, if it's a black mat, these are quite clean. A black spot, you just wipe it off. You don't soak them in water. Okay, so I think I've made my point on the counter. The person that asked the question about something about between races and gender, black women coming in lower. Can you ask that again, please? It literally flew by. Um, Mpumi says, "Hi Amanda, I'm currently in senior management position in a male-dominated industry, and in the past 2 years, I have seen my voice shrinking. I'm no longer confident as a result. I'm not as assertive." So why is your voice shrinking? Why is your voice shrinking, darling? So clearly no one is taking your voice away. So you tell me what's going on. But here's what I'll tell you, because I've had this, in fact, there's a lady I mentor who suffers from the same thing. So often, we create these worlds in our head that don't exist. Um, so often we think that because it's a male-dominated business or male-dominated industry, subconsciously you think your voice must shrink. And subconsciously you think that you must bow down to them. These mushrooms are quite chunky, by the way. So we'll let them cook quite a bit. In fact, I can just chop up some in half. So with the mushrooms, you can chop them up in little pieces, whatever you want. I want some chunkiness in my meal. So yeah, I think that there's so often a situation where you think your voice is shrinking, but you are just shrinking it. No one is shrinking it. You are there for a reason. You are there on merit. And if people are disrespecting you or talking over you or doing things that are not inclusive, you tell them that. And I think that I must tell you that I don't believe that men wake up and decide, I want to make a woman's life miserable. Yeah, there are probably people like that. I'm talking about in the workplace. I think we give them way too much credit. I don't think they're that calculating. So if I think there is an unconscious bias, we all have it, and they may be doing things that they're not even aware that they're doing them to exclude you. So call them out on them. Say that I actually don't feel comfortable when you say this, or I feel excluded when you say this, or I think that when you guys behave like this is the outcome of it. No one is silencing you. You are silencing yourself. It's your voice. Use it. No one can take your voice away. And you are there for a reason, guys. It's on merit that you are there. Unless you are trying to tell me you didn't work for that job. If you tell me you didn't work for it, then that's a different conversation. But if you went to school, you studied, you worked hard to get where you are, why let people take away your voice? It's your voice. No one can take it away. And I think that we need to be very, very strategic about what you're trying to achieve. So what I've seen does not work is people who try to be militant and revolutionary in how they deal with challenges of gender in the workplace. It doesn't help you trying to antagonize people. And sometimes when when you've told your mind that I'm going to be at a disadvantage or I am at a disadvantage because it's a male-dominated industry. I succeeded in a very male-dominated industry because I didn't see myself as a minority. I didn't see myself as at a disadvantage. In fact, I took, go ahead, yeah. I took on the fight without antagonizing people. Because more often than not, people don't realize that they're doing the things that bother you. So it's building that rapport with them. It's building the rapport that says, I'm not going to treat you like a monster because I think every man is a monster. No, no, that's not true. You treat people with respect and you demand respect from them if they don't give it to you. So, so go ahead, please, and say your say. Don't let people just climb all over you because you're scared. Okay, my meal is coming along nicely. I'll show you now. Just let me give these mushrooms a bit of a cut as well. They're quite chunky. Okay, and from here on, I'm gonna add back the chicken. So let me answer this question. So I hope that helps, Mpumi. Just don't think of it as you are in a minority and they are overpowering you. No. And if you need help, speak to a coach. They can help you navigate some of these tough landscapes. But don't talk for the sake of talking either. I've seen people because they're feeling overwhelmed or undermined, they think that talking more is going to help, but it won't. Um, Find a strategic way of dealing with challenges, and that's where a coach and a mentor can help you, and people who have walked that path before. Um, what you want are people to be on your side. You know, you want them to be on your side. I succeeded because I didn't make them feel like they were monsters. And I said my say when I felt things were out of control or they were doing things that were excluding me. So try and find your voice because it's there. No one can take your voice away. It's a proven fact of life. All right. So Tseho says, thank you so much for the self-sabotage session from last week. I'm slowly doing the deep dive to get the cause of the behavior. The hard part is being kind to myself when I fall off the wagon again. Oh, that one is going to take some practice. And thank you very much. That one is going to take some practice because when you're so constant, when you're used to being self-critical, remember you can't just undo that overnight. It's a conscious and deliberate decision every single day. And I mean, I think you heard me say there as well that you will get it wrong half the time, most of the time. But the aim is to try and and tell yourself, give yourself that positive talk more, so that even when you don't get it right, you're a little more kind to yourself. And kindness is a practice. Self-kindness is a practice. It's like it's like if you want a hot body, you gotta get off the couch and go walking and go training and go do whatever you need to do. Go running, hiking, and you do that consistently till you see the results. So it's also being kind to yourself and being compassionate with yourself is something that takes time, especially if you come from a place of self-criticism and seeing yourself as maybe not good enough or constantly making mistakes. Again, I'm saying if it's destroying you, you probably want to keep that you want to build that habit quite quickly and consistently of being a little more kind to yourself. Because some self-sabotaging behaviors are far more damaging than others. So start with the ones that are really damaging um, and work on those. Okay. Yeah, I got some questions, so I'm gonna show you this quickly. There we go. That's looking good. So what I'm gonna do now is add the chicken. So I'm gonna add our chicken. And you see, because I've added some pancetta and chorizo, I'm not, um, I'm not gonna salt the dish much because those are quite salty. So just give me a moment. Let me show you what this looks like. Looks amazing. Almost there. There we go. So that looks looking good. And you see, that's why I said the chicken, don't overcook it because we put it back. So what I'm now going to do here, I'm going to add some cream. So here, I'm going to add some cream. And I use room temperature cream. So okay. All right, so that's looking good. You can see already it's starting to look really, really good. I'm gonna use that just the one cream box, and then I'm gonna add some stock. So I'm just gonna add some chicken stock. And the reason I actually use chicken stock is so that I cut through the cream. So some people use water, but I think the most effective is stock. Okay. So I'm gonna put this back on the stove on low heat. And then I'm gonna do my peppers now, and then the sauces, then that's it. Okay. So that's looking really, really good. So here are some mushrooms, some red onions, red cabbage, some spices. I used cumin and paprika. I'm gonna add some black pepper now. And I mean, black pepper, guys, I never cook without it. Then I'm gonna add some coriander leaves. So when I dish this up, I'm gonna add fresh coriander. Okay, and I'll make sure that it's not too thick, but also not too runny because it's going into a pita. So you want that nice thick sauce. Oh, that's so good. That is really, really good. So I'll put that on low heat. And just let it cook some more. Okay. All right. Let me come back to questions. Just give me a moment. Mashiko is asking, am I able to see her question on, Amanda, are you able to see my question on your side? I've sent the question 3 times and I doubt you see it. On my side, I can see other questions. I'm not sure if I can see, I can't see it. But I got this one. I got this comment. So just post it again, okay? Okay, this question from Suhari says, how do you deal with blatant disrespect at work? I'm the youngest member in my company. The disrespect came as a shock, especially from junior staff who are older than me. I don't know how to respond. Okay, so guys, you have a voice. You belong where you are. No one is supposed to make you feel small about that. In fact, I think I said that a lot in the self-esteem session that I did a couple of weeks ago. So please watch that. You deserve respect. By virtue of you being human and being born, you deserve respect. And if you're walking into a space that does not respect you, you have to put up those boundaries. You have to tell them how they should treat you. But how they should treat you is also how you treat yourself. So if you believe you deserve respect and you treat yourself with respect, you have got to tell people when they do things that you do not like or things that transgress your values. And it's not a young or old thing. And I'm fully aware of some of the issues on the job where, you know, people are, because you're a millennial, you are disrespected, or because you're a baby boomer, you are disrespected. So I don't always think that it's just older people disrespecting younger people. It's also younger people disrespecting older people. We all come from different generations. We all have a lot to contribute, and you are there for a reason. Again, you belong where you are, and people must not, don't let it slide. Don't let those comments slide that you find disrespectful. And it doesn't matter whether you're young or not. People have no right to treat you with disrespect. So talk to them in a calm voice. Talk to them and say, I actually find that disrespectful. I do not like that. And you allow them the opportunity to fix it, to fix their behavior towards you. But if they don't fix it, you keep reminding them until you actually have to do something about it, which is reported. And clearly, you know, organizations have values for a reason. And eventually you'll see if, you will come across that a lot in your working career, where you have to be dealing with people who disrespect you for whatever reason. And sometimes it's you're a female, males disrespect you. But I actually also think I want to talk about that one in particular because I mentioned it earlier. Because we're also, remember, society, we are society, right? So society is not something out there. It's us. It's us. So society has brought up men to be far more aggressive and far more, out there and go for everything. Say, grab what's yours, and has brought up women to be more subservient and more be in the background, don't speak, don't say anything, don't have ambition. We know now that that does not serve us. So even if you are in a situation where your cultural upbringing is screaming, don't say anything, fight against that, because that is where deliberate action matters. That is where consciousness matters. So be conscious of how you are showing up and why you're showing up that way. And if there are things that are disrespectful to you, call them out, because it's enough that you have to deal with that nonsense at home because of patriarchal system or patriarchal societal norms. You don't have to deal with that in the workplace as well. So in all of the spheres of your life, remember you have a voice, you were gifted a voice. Your voice is equal to every single person's voice on the planet. No one person has a better voice or bigger voice or more relevant voice or a voice that matters more. You have your voice, you use it. And use it constructively, use it to make sure that people are aware of where the boundaries lie, because boundaries are very important. So I think I'm going to leave that one there. Boundaries are very important. Just going to close my dish here for now. And I'm going to keep my aubergine in the oven, because just to keep that warm. Okay, so I hope that helps. But talk to people. There's no other solution to problems like that except to talk to people and tell them how you feel. Tell them how they make you feel, how their behaviors make you feel. And you know what? Tell them what the consequence will be if they don't stop. And nobody has to disrespect you because you are young. And I mean, stand up for yourself. Speak out. Speak up. And nobody has the right over you. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly light the stove, and I'm gonna show you what I'm doing here quickly. Let me see if I can turn this around. So here I'm gonna, oh, there we go. I'm gonna roast some peppers. So I've got peppers here. I'm gonna roast these. So open flame. Literally open flame. See? In fact, what I'll do, I'll switch on the other one and put 1 here. And then here, just leave the 2. And you must use tongs to help you with this. So I'm going to use some tongs. And you have to pay attention to it. So 5 minutes per side. You see, it's starting to roast nicely. So what you want is you get to a point where they start to collapse, and then you take them off the heat. So we'll just watch those. And that gives you absolute maximum flavor of the peppers. And then we'll cut them up. We'll stuff the pita bread with them. So those who came in a bit late, these are some pita breads, and I'll show you how I make them and how we stuff them. So it's a loaded street food, aka luxurious street food by Amanda. Amanda's way. Yeah, let me come back to the other question. So I'll quickly answer this one. How does one participate in our graduate program? You apply at talent@uyandiswa.com. We're only looking for diplomas and university degrees. So yeah. And applying doesn't mean you will be successful. It depends on what we have at the moment. So right now, we've already taken in our graduates for the year. So, but it helps to, and it's people that have graduated in the last 6 months. Okay, let me come to this question. Kama says, hi Amanda, my question is, how do I support a partner that is currently going through a tough time with mental health? I think you support them by telling them that they matter, by telling them that, they need to get help. Because there's one thing, and I don't know what kind of mental health issue you're referring to, but you cannot help a person get better. They have to do the work themselves. They have to agree to seek help. And it's probably the hardest thing about mental health is that you can't do the work for them. They have to do it themselves. So, but most importantly, it is reminding them that you love them, that you care about them, that they deserve to be happy, and that deserving to be happy means they have to seek the right help. They have to seek the right help. You can't do it for them in as much as you would love to. And a lot of people blame themselves when people are suffering from mental health issues, but it's not that. It's not that at all. And please watch a session that I did with, it was a talk show as well as a live that I did with Dr. Clement Chawane, who's a psychiatrist, as well as Lungile Chisa, who's a clinical psychologist. And the best thing you can do for people with mental health issues is support them, is tell them you care, but make sure that you're driving them, you tell them they need to agree to help. They have to seek help. You can't help them. You're not a professional that you can't help them. And no amount of your love will actually help them. So, but you don't withdraw it. You keep loving them, and they then have to do the rest of the work with a professional. And that's very important. Do the work with a professional. Okay, so my peppers are coming good. Look at that, looking so good. So we want a good consistent char. So I'm gonna keep turning them around. Whoosh, getting rather hot now. So even this one looking good, And I'm just gonna turn this one as well till I get that good charm I'm looking for. Okay, so yeah, I think that I hope that helps come. I think it's the most difficult thing to live with someone who has mental health issues, and it's because it doesn't matter what you do, they must seek help, because sometimes these things are not, it's not your seasonal mental health issue. It's a deeper clinical health issue. It's, you know, there's chemical imbalances, there's whatever the reasons may be, but that's where you need professional help. Um, and you know, public hospitals offer psychiatry help and psychological counseling for free. And there's also quite a lot of organizations that do that as well. SADC, I think I've posted on my stories once, but I mean, you can just Google that. Organizations that do it for free. Also, in your employer, so um, companies have wellness programs. They have access to psychologists for staff. I mean, either it's eye cares or one of these wellness programs. Look out for those guys and use them. They are confidential, so it's not like people will know that you are seeing a psychologist or someone is seeing a psychologist, as if actually it matters. But let's assume you want some privacy, you will get privacy. You will be granted privacy because that's how it works. So your organizations also pay for this service, and you must take advantage of it. And it's so important that we seek help. And you know, I also see a lot of and just at the back of this particular conversation, um, we can all protest and write on social media how horrendous it is that people suffer so much mental health, and that we must speak up. You can speak up all you want, guys. If people don't purposefully and deliberately decide to take that step and seek professional help and stick with it, there is nothing you can do to help people. So yes, the awareness is a great thing. The conversations around mental health are a good thing. But at the end of the day, people have to get up and seek the help themselves, because you can't shove it down someone's throat. You can't threaten them that if they don't, then you will. I mean, it's not going to help. It's a decision. It's a personal decision. And yeah, maybe some people need to hear the tough messaging, but you know, it's people must really, the conversation I want to have is not how much mental health is an issue, or how rampant mental health is, or how many more people are taking their lives because of depression. We already know that. The conversation I want to have is, when are you seeing a therapist? When are you going to see a psychiatrist so that they help you with medication to regulate whatever imbalance is there? But of course, that has to be clinically diagnosed. That has to be clinically diagnosed. I also am very clear, I'm not here to do that. Here, this is for me a platform through which I can help you become aware. So, give you some tools, some techniques, some processes of how to become aware of what is sitting inside of you and what you need to work on. You still have to seek help. You still have to seek professional help. So you can't say you're going to watch Amanda's sessions if you have a serious mental health issue that you're struggling with. And if you have serious traumas and abuse that you are dealing with, the impact of those. So you still have to seek help. And that's also one of the reasons I'm on this platform, is to tell people, please seek help. If you have a serious, and there are people who send me emails asking me advice on things that I'm like, I'm not equipped to deal with that. So I know exactly where my role starts and where it stands and where it ends. And I must also say that, you know, at the core of what I do is helping people master themselves. So it's personal mastery. At the core of what I do, self-mastery. Because I believe that if you can master yourself, if you understand who you are and where you've come from, and how those things that you've experienced influence how you show up for yourself, if you can understand who you are and learn to master yourself, there isn't a challenge in life you won't be able to deal with. So if you build up that muscle of resilience, if you build up the notion of who you are, if you refocus and rechannel and realign and reconcile the idea of self and who you are and what that self is worth, that is what you need. That's the foundation you need to be able to tackle both personal life problems as well as work challenges. So the answer in a work challenge isn't always the particular solution, or let me put it this way: the solution to a work problem may not necessarily be a direct solution. So, for example, if you let people disrespect you, I can't help you solve the problem of them disrespecting you. What is critical for me is, what is your idea of self? Because if you have improved your idea of self, you will automatically know that you do not deserve disrespect. But if you have not so resolved your idea of self and how people should treat you, then you will tolerate and accept how people treat you, even though it goes against your own values. So everything I do here is about helping you unlock your your foundation. How was the foundation? And if your foundation was fraught with faults and um, many negative narratives, you have to learn to fix that. You have to go about, and that's what I do here, is to help you fix the foundation. But sometimes I can't help you. A professional must help you. So that's where coaches, that's where therapists and psychiatrists come in, that's where mentors come in. And yeah, so I do my best to help people master themselves. That's why you won't hear me giving you advice about relationships. I'll give you advice about how to handle yourself, what foundation you need to be building, because then that enables you to deal with the challenges you face in your relationships or in work or at work or etc. And to be honest, some of the specific things people ask me about their jobs, you can even Google them. That the answers are always there. But that one answer you think will be your answer, it won't be if you haven't done the foundational work. That answer will not work if I say to you, talk to people, tell them when they're disrespecting you. You might find it to be, oh my gosh, where do I even start? If you haven't found that sweet spot with your worth and your self-worth. When you keep talking yourself down and having negative talk and thinking people are treating you the way they're treating you because you deserve it, you're not going to be able to solve those problems. So it's literally almost like you just, it's a waste of effort, if you don't do the hard work. And it's actually just plastic. It's just treating symptoms. It's a plastic band-aid. Was it a band-aid? Where you're just treating symptoms and not the real issues. So yeah. Anyway, I thought that I add that. So I hope that helps. Gabetu says, hi Amanda, apologies if you have already answered this question. What do you think of hiring family members in your business? I feel like I'm expected to and looked at as not willing to help. So I don't believe you are supposed to do anything. If people are not going to add value to your business, I don't believe you should hire them. I've always had this thing that I don't work with family, but I realized that what I meant was I don't want to work with some members of the family. Because what I have found now in my business, and when I opened the segment, I said that, I've been dealing with some staff resignations because of, cycle, because of the cycle. My people have been with me for many years, 8 years, 6 years, so at some point they have to go. So what I found is the people that are still there and staying are my family members. So I work with two family members, and one started working with me. My cousin Yolanda started working with me back in 2015. She's still there, and she's a critical component of my business. And my sister-in-law, Catherine, who works with me, has been there now for 3 years, going on 4 years, I think. And these are both people who are really adding value in my business. And I think what I'm starting to learn more of is that it's not that you don't want to work with family, it's that there's certain family members you don't want to work with. So you need to have the right to say, you have the right, by the way, to say, unfortunately, what you particularly bring to the table is not what I need or what the business needs. Because ultimately, you have to be looking at what your business needs. Yeah, you can also think about you want to create jobs for your family. That's great. But if they're not going to add value and add more stress to your life and don't add but keep taking a salary, that's abuse. That's a form of abuse. So don't abuse yourself. Guys, my peppers are looking really good. I don't want them to collapse too much. I don't want them to be too soft, so I'm going to soon take them off. But I want to show you what they look like. So yeah, I mean, I hope that helps. And guys, we all know about expectations. Um, People may expect it of you, but you have to fight the edge to constantly agree to things purely because people think it's convenient, it's what should be done. You'll end up with debt. They're trying to pay people that don't add value purely because they're family. So everyone must earn their keep. And I mean, in my kind of business as an entrepreneur, there's nowhere to hide. I can't carry people. Whoever is there, they must perform. They must add value, and their conduct must be good. I did open businesses before, hired my sister. In fact, I think I opened them so that I could give her a job. And, that had its challenges. So, it just depends on who you are hiring. Check out my peppers, guys. Oh, they look so good. They look wonderful. Yeah. So I'm going to take those off. And then this is the yellow one. I'll leave it a bit, just a touch more. Okay. So these are very hot now. So what I'll do with these is that I'm going to let them cool down a bit. Then I'm going to chop them up. So when we serve in the pita bread, we stuff the aubergine, and then we add the chicken sauce we've made. But I don't want to call it a chicken sauce because chicken is just one of the ingredients. So you see these are now collapsing nicely. So they're nicely cooked. You see that? Yeah. They're nicely cooked. So obviously I won't use the insides. I'll just use the actual peppers. So let me put that on the side for now. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I make my hummus. So let me start. So with hummus, you blend it, make it in a blender. The trick to making a really great hummus, like smooth hummus sauce, is you must add the lemon juice. So I'll show you. So you have to use real lemon, not that bottled lemon juice. Use real lemon. Okay, just show you now. Okay, so that's that. So I squeeze some lemon juice out. So you see. Okay. So I'm going to use a full lemon for this. So straight from the source. You know how I always say I like things straight from the source? That's why I don't take vitamins or anything like that. I just get it straight from the source. All right. So I also have some tahini. So tahini is actually a paste made from roasted sesame seeds. So ordinarily I'd make it myself, but I didn't find sesame seeds. So I'm just gonna, you take about a third of a cup. So to be honest, I don't even know why I'm measuring it, because I don't measure. But this tahini is very nutty, like nut because of the sesame seed element. So I'm not a measuring person, but I do have the measuring things. So I'll add this to the mix. So let me just get my spatula. Just one moment. There we go. So just add this there. It's quite nutty tahini, but it's really great on Mediterranean dishes. You can even use, hummus particularly for dip. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just blend this first, and you'll see it will make it quite nice and smooth. Give me a moment. So until it's got that nice creamy texture. I don't know if you can see. There we go. So that's nice creamy texture. So what I'm then going to do, add some chickpeas. So I'm using a can of chickpeas here. I'm going to add some olive oil. Also going to add some garlic. So what I did with this garlic, crushed garlic, I let it sit in lemon juice so that I take away that pungency, because garlic can be hectic. So I let it sit in some lemon juice to just take away that. Then I'm gonna add some black pepper. And with this, you can add even those peppers that I charred. You could add them here if you wanted to upsize your hummus and give it a nice nutty, a nice peppery flavor. And I'm gonna use some dried parsley because I like mine with herbs. And then just a touch of salt. Okay. Just a touch of salt. Okay. So what I'm going to do as well is just add a touch of water. Okay. Let's blend that again. Let's see what it looks like. We just need to maybe add more water so that we get a nice blend going. Don't add too much water, so rather keep adding a little bit so that it doesn't get watery. Almost there. And this, you pay a lot of money for it at the stores, but if you can make your own, look how nice that looks. I'll pour it in a little bowl now. Oh, that's nice. That is so nice. Then what I'll do, I need to just add a little more salt. And then I'm gonna add just a touch of brown sugar, because what I do is I like it when it's a little sweet sour. But this looks really, really amazing. I'm getting it clumsy now. This looks perfect. Perfect. And that's our hummus, homemade. Oh, looks divine. I'll show you now. There we go. Check that. How beautiful. That's my homemade hummus. Yes, I'm very proud. I like making things myself because I just feel like, you know, I feel like I get far more satisfaction from that. But of course, store-bought stuff is also fine. We don't always have the time to do all these things. Okay, guys, so let me show you now. I'm going to actually start plating a pita because I want you to see. I generally don't plate, you know that, because people dish up for themselves in this house. But I just want to show you what it's going to end up looking like. So let's start by chopping up our nicely roasted peppers. See how gorgeous those look. They're just so beautiful. They are just perfect. Just perfect. See how stunning those are. You can see all that nice, all those nutrients have stayed inside. So you've got some nice juicy peppers going here. Just chunk those up. Almost there. Okay. Just chop these up, nice chunky ones. Don't. You can choply find them if you wish, but I mean finely chop them. But I don't need that. I want them to have that nice chunky feel too. I'm literally dissecting. All right, almost there. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on the side. Okay. All right. I'm gonna take out the pita bread. So I bought these from a store. Pita bread. So I'll just toast. I'll toast them for like a minute or two. Just put those in the toaster. Whilst I do that, so I'm gonna bring up some. In fact, let's make a tzatziki as well. I'll just show you how to quickly make that. It's actually quite easy. So what I do with mine is, let me just put this away. So for my tzatziki, I use gherkins. So typically people use cucumbers, but I mean, these are baby cucumbers. Let's just stick to that, pickled ones. So I use these, chop them up into fine pieces, and then I use plain yogurt. And and then if you have fennel or whatever you want to add, you can add it. I just add salt to taste. So let me quickly chop these up. Oh, I have to keep showing you my hummus, guys. Can you see it? Can you see how stunning it is? You're right. Nara says homemade always the best. Yeah, anything homemade is always the best. So anyway, guys, I think give me more questions. Let's see. Yeah, but I maybe let me close off this topic about expectations. Um, Ultimately, sometimes the same people that expect you to do things are the ones who will never do anything for you. Um, and no, I don't want to sound negative or anything. It's just the reality of life. So be so choosy about what works for you and what works for your business. So let's say if you don't have the guts to tell them they're not competent or, or that they won't add any value to your business. Just say that it's not what the business needs and you don't have the money to pay for it. And I think that there is something to be said for pleading poverty in some of those situations. Just say you don't have the money to do it. Because in any event, it's the business's money. And you cannot be irresponsible with the money of the business. You have taxes to pay, you have stuff to pay, you have yourself to pay, you have rent to pay, whatever your commitments are. So a lot of times when you have a company, people don't understand how much you have to pay and the debt you take to service the business or to make sure that the business meets its obligations until it can pay for itself. So, I think the more we expose people to those realities and tell them that, the better. So let's stop acting like once we have businesses, we have money. In fact, let's just like be honest about what it means to have a business. And I think in a way, they might also start appreciating that it actually takes you don't have to disclose every single thing. I'm just saying, get used to having the conversation around how hard running a business is in terms of cash flow and why every cent is important, why every cent must go towards the business and making sure that the business grows. Because when the business grows, you can make money and maybe then you can, help them set up their own things or, hustle their own businesses. I mean, I think sometimes people don't actually understand. I remember when back in the day, before I put up some boundaries, my family used to ask me, my mom and my sister used to ask me to use my medical aid card. Ever since I started working, this thing was a thing where they want to use my medical aid card. And when I said no, it seemed like I was being, funny. But I had to explain to them that that is actually medical aid fraud and I can go to jail for it. I can get arrested. So to them, it's you are paying for the medical aid and you don't use it because you are never sick and we need to use it. It doesn't work like that. It's not like you just pass on, medical insurance. So, but sometimes it's an education thing that has to go in there. But I actually got to a point where I'm like, I actually don't care if people think I'm mean or unkind. If you are trying to compromise my well-being and want me to put myself in a compromising position, yeah, I may have done that before, but it's not going to happen anymore. And that's the beauty of setting up boundaries. It's understanding what you need to do to build your own life. Because what's the point of all of our lives not being great, Anyway, so I've now chopped up all these gherkins. In fact, I think I'm using a small bowl. Let me take a bigger bowl. So speak up for yourselves, guys. No one is gonna do it but yourself. But I think let's be open about our finances and the state of, of businesses. Because sometimes people think because you have a business, you have money. Okay, so that's some good old pickled gherkins. Then I'm gonna pour a chunk of plain yogurt. And what I do, never go wrong with dried parsley. Touch of salt, touch of pepper for good measure. And that's a tzatziki. I don't add anything more, to be honest. I don't add olive oil. This is just it. And it is so yummy, so yummy. The best. So if you have fennel, you can add it there. In fact, let me add some more yogurt because these people, they finish this thing in a heartbeat. So at least I have a lot of it. Okay. So I'm done with that. Now I'm going to quickly show you how to fill the pita. So I've toasted these. You can toast them for a little longer if you wish. They are quite hot out of the toaster. But let me show you now what we're going to do. So with this, you can literally just, it's quite easy to cut as well because they are hollow inside. So it's quite hot. Okay, so there it is, right? So what I do, okay, I'm gonna add a little more crunchy red cabbage. So just a little bit. But firstly, I'll take my hummus. So hummus, you line the pita with it, and you can do that generously. And then I'll put my peppers. So I line up the peppers nicely. I mean, it depends on how many people you're feeding, so don't take from everyone. Don't take away from, leave some for some people, for others. But I have a lot of people in the house here today, so okay, so that's what it looks like now. Okay, and then I'm gonna add my sauce that we made. So maybe for added benefit, let me put it over here. Okay. So remember what we made, the yummy stuff, the goodies. We're gonna pump that in there. Okay. Right? We've got some goodness at the back going. And then I'm gonna add some tzatziki. So the yogurt we just made. We add some of that. And then a touch of red cabbage. And then what you also do This is a nice chunk of coriander or fresh parsley. And that, my friends, is how we make our street food lunch for Sunday. As you can see, there's several colors here. So you close this nicely and you eat it like you would a kota. like you would a kota. Let me put it down. And there we go. Okay. So that's our street food for today. And I look forward to having this. I typically don't have dough. So, but today I think I'm going to try some dough. But this looks so good. And this is easy for kids to eat. And I like the fact that you can actually nicely lick your fingers, because what's the point of eating good food if you're not going to lick your fingers? Okay, wash my hands. All right, guys, I think that's, and I make these kinds of meals because you can see the effort is it's not like it's less effort, but it's really like such a nice, different meal. Um, and something that you can even make during the day and during the week. And you don't have to do everything the way I do it. I mean, you can even chop the peppers and put them in the sauce, so that's fine. But I just thought for added drama, let's roast them open flame. All right, guys, and I hope that I've helped with your questions. But I think as a rule, start off from the premise that you deserve to be treated with respect and that you deserve to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you. And that in fact you will go open up and create your opportunities where you see you need an opportunity. And you know, it's a, you deserve it. You deserve it. It really, it does break my heart when I see people living apologetically and living as though they constantly need someone's permission. You are no longer in your father's house. You're no longer in your mother's house, for those who have left. If you're still in your father's house and your mother's house, listen to them. But the point is that once you are in charge of your own life, every single thing is up to you. You can change the direction of your life if you don't like where you're going. You can change the direction of your life if you don't like the things you've observed and things that have informed who you have become. You can actually change every single thing in your life. It's a personal decision, it's a choice. But you cannot change things you are not aware of. So spend time in that awareness zone. Spend time in learning about yourself. Like you guys do when you're trying to impress a new partner. Do that with yourself. And then understand where you are coming from when you act in a certain way. But the aim is to understand so that you can change those things. Change what you don't like. And live every moment as though it's your last moment. We all like to carry on as though there's tomorrow. So I say, seize the moment that you have now. And know that you matter. You really do matter. And I don't subscribe to a school of thought that says other human beings are more important than you or have a voice over you. I don't believe that. It doesn't matter who you are. You have a voice. And we have to treat people with respect. It doesn't matter if they're mopping the floor or they're stamping something, or you don't respect people purely because of their positional power. Because someday that person would have lost that position, or someday the one that you disrespected who was under your foot is the one that rises to the top. That's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of respecting people, because people always remember the way you treated them. They always remember the way you treated them. So I've been in business a number of years. I've been in corporate a number of years. The one thing I can assure you is that that person you might have mistreated when you were in a position of power is the person you now need to succeed in business. And I've had I've had scenarios where people mistreated me before. And I'm the one that can now make or break their life. So Oh, life is beautiful in that way. I can tell you, God moves in amazing ways because if you don't respect people and treat them like they deserve to be here, someday you will have to answer for that. Someday you will pay dearly for that. So please don't feel like that's reserved for other people. It's reserved for you as well. You deserve to be treated with respect. Just by virtue of you being born, created, you deserve respect. And don't let people keep abusing you in any shape or form. You don't deserve that. And please watch the sessions I've done time and again, because you may watch it once and you get something. Next time you watch it, you get something different. And it also depends on where you are in your life stage and what you are dealing with, that you will understand different things that I say at different points. And some things may not resonate with you now, but you need it down the road. So yeah, I really care. I care about the fact that we all deserve to be happy. We all deserve to be happy, whatever that definition is of our happiness. And we all deserve to be treated like we matter. First and foremost, please give that to yourself. Give that to yourself. Because when people see how you treat yourself, they might actually start following suit without you even having to preach to them, because they can see how much you value yourself. We've come from backgrounds that taught us not to value ourselves, that taught us to be so self-critical. But it is up to us to change how we show up because of that. And there's nothing wrong with humility and understanding what you need to learn. But don't confuse humility for anything other than that. It's the appreciation that you're still learning. It's the appreciation that you are still learning about yourself. And that you want to show up as the best version, not just for yourself, but those around you and the things that matter. But be confident enough. Don't think when you're confident, then you're not humble. No, 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 no. The two coexist. They coexist. And don't confuse matters. Don't think because you're self-assured and you're assertive, then you're arrogant. People might say that, but don't believe it because it's not true. And we all know arrogant people are people who think they're better than other people because of some status that they hold, whatever it is. Arrogance is people who think they're better than you. If you think you're better than another person, then you're arrogant. But if you know that you are doing your best every single day to show up better for yourself and your children and those that matter to you, better than you did yesterday. So the person you're trying to be better than is yourself. That version that you had yesterday is gone. You are now here. It's how can you be better in this moment? And if you're gifted tomorrow, how can you be better in that moment? And these moments build up to a wonderful life, or they build up to something else. So make the choice, make the decisions, and choose right, and be consistent in it. And as you are on that path and on that journey, understand that there is no manual or textbook that's telling you how to do it. You are figuring things out for yourself. And often you're fighting against those voices in your head that you grew up being fed. So be kind to yourself, be compassionate with yourself. Don't go around doing things that are going to to destroy your value and destroy your future. So be cognizant of the decisions you are making. Whilst you're being compassionate, be wise about the decisions you are making. So whilst you're being compassionate to yourself, be wise about the decisions you are making. I need to get this pita to somebody to eat. So thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your kind comments. Please share this, subscribe, ask people to subscribe, share as wild as you want. I hope this has been helpful for you. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it. Thank you. And have a smashing week. Go and get it.